All right, so here we go. Kartik, thanks so much for doing this. The topic of today, how can vTech solutions help federal agencies or other large organizations secure their digital information? Could you just open with your name, your title, role in vTech, and a brief history about yourself?
Thanks, Sandra, for having me. My name is Kartik Hirpara. I'm Director of IT Services here at vTech, and my role involves working with our customers, our internal teams to help them secure the digital infrastructure and adopt the cloud with the security in consideration.
Great, thank you. I thought that was good. Don't need to be taken. So first question, first question for today, as we try to answer this big topic, is what unique strategies or methodologies does vTech Solution employ in securing digital infrastructure?
So vTech strategies to secure the digital infrastructure for the enterprise scale, it's a combination of multiple factors that includes bringing the visibility into the picture first. Uh, you can't protect what you don't know, and that's what we are focusing on, helping our customers, bringing the visibility across the multiple clouds in a place so they have full-blown visibility, and then strategizing or risk assessment that are tailored to meet both security and compliance requirements that customers have, and taking it from there to building strategies out, being extending defense in depth for every layer in the infrastructure, starting out from the internet all the way towards the users and going very deep into the application layers, right? So that's what we are focusing more on from the preventive side of the house.
Great, thank you. And building off of that, how are vTech Solutions, their strategies best geared for federal agencies, SLED organization, commercial organizations?
Yeah, and so we take strategies to align our cybersecurity project delivery, service delivery that we do for customers for different segments. I'll start off with the federal governments, right? So federal government, there are a lot of systems that are in the need of updates, modernization, and that requires careful planning, right? That planning comes with an assessment of what's in there, how they operate internally, where the systems are dependent. There are a lot of interdependencies that goes into the picture when trying to define the security strategy for them moving forward. And what vTech does is allows our customers to pick and choose from our integrated solution portfolio, for what fits into their buckets, right? So we do that from end to end life cycle, and that's what we have started doing it. Working with multiple government agencies on modernization projects, we understood that one of the piece very critical in order to create a win-win situation in terms of cybersecurity is to cover full life cycle. Integrate our solutions into the life cycles such as IT service management, DevOps lifecycle, DevSecOps, the operation word we hear all the time. And vTech integrates in each stage of the operation by bringing in, giving full visibility. Like I said earlier, that's a very unique approach that we have started is providing visibility at each layer, and giving from top to bottom, giving visibility to based on the roles that the leaders are responsible for. So
Yeah, next question. How is vTech Solution equipped to address the unique challenges related to securing critical infrastructure related to enterprise scale critical infrastructure?
I'll start by naming some of the critical infrastructure security problems or challenges, so to speak, that comes across for the leaders, right? One of them is having the visibility. Second of it is bringing diverse systems, data reporting for the security and compliance purposes together. Third one is protecting those information systems that are legacy in nature, right? That are very old, that has to run. They're not supported by the original vendors that they need to be supported in order to protect them. And that's where what we do is help customers gain visibilities and insight into Not only, again, our approach has always been about going end to end. So we start by doing full-blown visibility on the network infrastructure, whether you are on on-premises self-hosted infrastructure or you are spread across multiple hybrid cloud environment. We help customers gain visibility across the network. And then we dive deeper a little bit into interdependencies between the systems and applications. Maybe there are ERP systems that are talking externally and internally with other workloads in the infrastructure, right? What we do is a lot of time we observe that there is lack of visibility in the environment in order to make certain decisions about security strategies. And once we start seeing that, we start working with the security engineers to give them the posture as is, what's communicating where, how many devices are in the infrastructure that are out of compliance, maybe how many users are coming in from where, depending on what the nature of system is. And that allows us to generate very detailed visualization and mapping of what's communicating where, and that translates into the solution, which is, okay, now I know what's going on. How can we protect these systems, right? There are multiple pieces to it, which we need to answer. So I did one was visibility. Second is identity and access management. So identity and access management is really important in maturing the zero trust architecture, zero trust strategy that the agencies and even enterprise customers now have. Bringing in a solution that is allowing to add multiple layers of authentication, multiple layers of verification, and trail for the audit purposes when the risk assessments are being conducted. So we have incorporated, again, across the hybrid cloud. This is how vTech is unique. We try to help customers with the vendor agnostic approach to make sure that they don't have scaling problems going forward. A lot of times, this is something that leaders, infrastructure leaders, and security leaders face: is we get something in the infrastructure, and then maybe they have vendor locking problems. That's, this access is not supported in certain systems, and now we have to deploy something else in terms of mechanism. And that's where we try to streamline and consolidate the identity access management across the system, fine grain it from all the way to network, all the down to the host and application layer, to help gain the control that the agencies and our enterprise customers need. That's it.
Great, thank you. Number 5, what proactive measures does vTech solution have or take to anticipate and mitigate emerging cyber threats for its clients?
The proactive measures vTech takes to prevent and mitigate the cyber threats for our customers is investing in technologies and processes that are backed by automation, backed by artificial intelligence at each layer. We do that at the network layer. We have capabilities to identify malicious network traffic, segment it out, and prevent by the policies and compliances that we have set forth. And we help customers do that across the multiple cloud. We do the same thing at the endpoint, and that applies to workstation, mobile devices, and any other applications that may be used, applying the preventive policies in compliance with the security posture. That is something that helps prevent unauthorized access to the system. And then we go at very detailed application process layer. This is very important step to stop lateral movements across the internal infrastructure. So it protects from intended or unintended insider threats at the process layer, which is at the runtime, right? So if there is something being initiated, name it for an example, log4j, where it's the time to respond is very less, and cybersecurity teams get burned out in order to manage complex processes, running it all the time and trying to prevent them in real time. So we have deployed it. The policies that we help customers deploy, solutions that we help customers deploy to prevent real-time threats are backed by automation capabilities in detection. So it gives visibility, and also the set forth boundary for preventing those. So we have limited amount of boundary set up for the trusted sources only, and that's how we help customers protect their applications and the infrastructure.
Great, thank you. Did you want to jump now up to 4, or we're just scrapping 4?
We'll scrap the 4 until we have some. I'm putting brainstorming
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's go to the, I guess 6 is kind of like 5, right? In your opinion, you just answered that.
Yes, I did. So they both will combine. I think what
Yep,
innovations we are doing is we are incorporating AI capabilities into our defense layer, user data, applications, and whatnot, right? So that's okay.
that's all right. How does vTech Solutions stay current with the evolving threat landscape, and how does the company continuously adapt to these cybersecurity strategies to address these emerging challenges?
Yep, thank you. This is twofold question. So first, I'll answer the first one. How does vTech stay current with evolving threat landscape? And that starts by having access to the tools, processes that provides the threat intelligence. Right, there are multiple open source platforms that provides threat intelligence to our teams. Integrating them into our security operational tools and processes is a key. I want to have visibility if something is released new, it's a zero, right? So what we call 0 days is something gets identified as malicious in the market or identified by, for example, CISA, right? CISA identified a threat for certain vendors, and what we have done is integrated the threat intelligence sources into our operating systems to easily map it, and it also provides a full-blown posture visibility to see what it might do in terms of risk, right? How it poses risk to certain assets in the infrastructure. Keeping it in mind, we have also invested in some of the industry-leading technologies and partners that provides a database and intelligence sources for us in order to keep our teams up to date, keep our customers up to date with the threat intelligence that we come across. And sharing threat intelligence is the key piece across the board. I think a collaborative environment is the key to trying to prevent and shape strategies and policies around to tackle the evolving threat landscape that we are seeing. And that has to done in efficient capacity. So this is where vTech is bringing in the platforms and the collaborative mechanisms in place to help our customers, not only our internal, but also our customer infrastructures that we are servicing as of now.
What is the company doing to just stay adaptable? That's all we have to do is why is vTech, or how is vTech staying adaptable to these new challenges?
Yeah, so I think the threat landscape is evolving, and an option for helping customers, helping vTech develop some of the mechanisms and technologies in order to tackle the evolving threat landscape is applying mechanisms that are protecting and in the nature of creating a virtual defense boundary for not only network applications and host in a capacity that's rapid, right? So we want to make sure what we identify in terms of data in our environment or any specific environment, we are taking that data in consideration and incorporating defense capabilities which are preventive in nature, backed by AI or automation, right? So we have done that at the application layer, we have done that at the network layer, but that comes from the having the solid threat intelligence workflow. So in threat intelligence teams, cyber analysts collaborating with the threat hunting and the defense blue teams to shape those policies and applying those in a rapid time frame, right? So the time is the essence. We have optimize the time to respond by integrating the cyber workflow, integrating the results of any assessment that we conduct to identify the 0 day threats, and quickly transforming those identifications into shaped policies that can help prevent them in future, right? And segmenting the network layers, segmenting the application layers or processes helps kind of like isolate and take them into the canned environment to apply as much as preventive policies we can. This is the key to protect the 0 day, protect the environment from the 0 day threats.
Great, perfect. All right, good. This is number 9. I like this one. Now you're talking about you. You're not talking about vTech. So this is your expert opinion. So number 9 is, from your perspective, what are the anticipated future trends and challenges for cybersecurity in federal or enterprise agencies? And what should companies be doing to address these future trends and challenges?
Yeah. So anticipated future trends and challenges in cybersecurity are, the visibility is going to remain the constant challenge. More and more complex environments, bringing into the infrastructure, diversifying, going hybrid and multi-cloud. There are migration initiatives that government agencies are going through as well in order to help enhance the user experience, modernization efforts. And that brings a challenge in terms of security because we are changing some of the nature, the way application were operating, right? We are changing the way users are accessing the applications. And to protect them, it's very important that a full-blown visibility is brought into the picture. A second challenge that I would say what we are going to see in near future is increase in the automated attacks, right? We already have enough of those going on, but with AI becoming more and more accessible to the community or to the hacking groups, it is almost inevitable to see that we'll start seeing some of those attack vectors increasing and at the mass scale because of the efficiency that AI adds in order to create the attacks, right? And I think that's going to be the key, the time to respond to these type of attacks that will require a solid cybersecurity program, cybersecurity framework that is quickly evolving as well as, at the pace that the AI and attacks driven by AI that are happening in the infrastructures. So some of the strategies to tackle that is understanding the environment by bringing in or consolidating visibility. Is like I said earlier, you can't protect what you don't know, and that's where this comes in the picture. Having the full-blown visibility, what's going on, aligning the policy-driven framework for the security posture, providing access to the teams for threat intelligence databases, and then using those insights which are gathered from the assessments, which are gathered from the visibility dashboards, monitoring tools that we have in the enterprise, to use that data and analysis we gather to shape the policies that are preventive in nature, to establish the zero trust boundaries, to establish the mechanisms of authentication, authorization, and access is what the company should be doing, and more incorporating AI into the security stack as much as possible, optimizing and automating security workflow between the different teams. For example, adding efficiencies and collaboration into red teams and the blue teams by bringing in the purple team, which is a very emerging concept that we are seeing now. Constant risk assessments are led by purple teaming by bringing in the blue and red teams together and adding efficiency in the cybersecurity risk assessment workflow is the key. And then that's basically the another piece I would say, constantly simulating if there was an attack to happen, how it would behave in the specific environment, right? So adversary emulation is the key. Adversary emulations allows every single function in the cybersecurity team to be tested, starting from how the entry, what was the point of entry of attack into the environment, how it traveled into different systems, if it was successful, test the preventive mechanisms in the system as well, whether we are able to protect or the threats are able to bypass our security controls and elevate further into our environment. So these are some of the things that are very necessary to tackle the scale and the pace that is going to be what we'll be seeing in near future in terms of the cyber threats.
Great. All right, your sauce question. So, in your opinion, what is vTech's secret sauce? Or if you don't want to answer that, the second question is more important. What gain does a customer get by working with vTech solution that they may not gain anywhere else?
Yeah, and To answer this question, like what's vTech secret sauce is, it could be anyone's secret sauce really, is differentiating the culture of how cybersecurity team operates in order to help our customers. Um, and, like fostering the collaborative environment across the different roles and responsibilities, or maybe you have multiple teams that support cyber initiatives. For instance, the red teams that do continuous testing and adversary emulations across the board, the blue teams that are traditionally supporting the firewalls, IDS, IPS kind of a security mechanisms, and then you have DevOps teams that are working to enhance the systems and development operations, application development operations, right? So what we do is consolidate as much as possible in terms of the workflows. So for an instance, our one of our capability that we help customers with is um, incorporating security lifecycle into the DevOps. Now, what I mean by that is, starting from the DevOps model where you have a development process going on, the constant assessment is being run parallel, right? So as something is being developed, vTech's team is capable to provide that granular visibility and assessment results that, hey, this is what you have in the environment, and this is what measures we need to be taking in order to protect those. Now we move it to the testing phase. Providing a threat modeling during the testing phase is very important and value that I think developer finds. Usually, if someone's sitting with them and telling them this is where the application or specific process is communicating, it allows them to shape, build the application the way it's compliant and secure in a nature, from the component species point of view. And this is where we take that threat modeling and the secure application building practice directly into the production environment. When some changes are released, they are tested, validated from security perspective, but also these things are used to apply the preventive policies, my bad. Preventive policies are shaped from the outcomes of threat modeling, and that helps us make sure that we fight that evolving threat landscape. And that's what vTech does in a better capacity, I think, in a collaborative way. Another unique thing that I would say is we have access to some of the industry leading threat intelligence databases. And that's basically a key in order to fight some of the attacks that are spoofed domains, for instance. That's one of the key. There are certain domains in the market that could be used later. They're abandoned for whatever reason, and they are used to attack and target for the type of ransomware attacks, right? And that's where identifying them is a key. Identifying the inbound, outbound traffic in the network that is malicious, which may seem that it's trusted, but it is malicious in nature. Those are the things we bring in by incorporating our threat intelligence and our preventive capabilities in singular workflows. That's what vTech does better, in my opinion. So I think I would say that's how we do it.
Great, love it. Just looking at these last ones. So let's from the client perspective. In the event that there's a cybersecurity incident, what is vTech Solutions' response plan?
Yeah, so I mean, it starts by acknowledging that any environment is prone to an incident, right? Whether it's a cyber, whether it's a nature, or anything else. We have plans and procedures in place that are aligned to NIST cybersecurity risk management framework. We have procedures outlined. We have different committees that are participating in our risk management program, and each individuals on that committees are invited in our risk management exercises. So I would say first piece when the incident happened is to track the entry points of the incident and follow the incident management lifecycle that we have established as per the standard, which includes engaging all the parties together, identifying the level of impact that incident is going to have, creating a communication plan that will be used to communicate with or stakeholders that are required to be notified, the authorities that are required to be notified at the state and local or even federal the level. And then we have mechanisms and processes in place to engage our internal teams, and if needed, additional external partners and service providers to do an analysis and sometimes forensic analysis as well, to conduct a thorough investigation for how the threat was in our environment, what impact it created, how it could what else it could have impacted, and kind of like creating a rapid response boundaries with help of our security team by working with external vendors and making sure we contain the threat first. We preserve the evidences or any traces that we may find helpful in order to strengthen our posture later on. Um, so those are some of the highlights on a high level. I would say that's part of our incident management. But yeah, I think learning from the incidents and lessons and then transforming them into the preventive policies, preventive capabilities is the key here. So we don't do the same mistake again. I think that's what it's a full-blown incident management life cycle that we follow. So that covers a lot many things.
Great, great. The big high-level topic. I realize we've only talked about the topic, and then we had all these questions. So take a moment, look at the bold questions. How can vTech solution help federal agencies secure their digital infrastructure? Let's actually get an answer to that question. I realized that's the main topic. Probably should have asked you that in the beginning. So,
What would I think about? Okay.
Yeah. So the very first one in bold.
Top one. Okay, I see. How can vTech solution help federal agencies and other large organizations secure their digital infrastructure?
And if you think we've already answered this, then that's all right. But I just want to make sure we don't miss this key topic.
Yeah, no, this is very important question, right? So how vTech can help agencies and enterprises secure the digital infrastructure? This is something that's what we have been developing in house from our experience working with the federal agencies and enterprise accounts that has the digital infrastructure. And one of the things vTech has done is developed a solution that is consisting of a service portfolio that is consisting of multiple solutions incorporated and that works together in order to protect the digital infrastructure. The first thing that is a key that's going to be having a knowledge of what's in the infrastructure. What I mean by that is having a knowledge at different tiers that are responsible for maintaining and securing the infrastructure, giving them insights into what's really going on day-to-day basis. So kind of like a standard workflow point of view, I would say assess the environment. So assessment piece of it. Every tier, network, application, host layer assessments, that gives visibility to individuals that are responsible for various tasks, right? Whether it's a maintenance, whether it's operations. Now, what vTech is doing is also we have noticed. I'll pause here, but I'll answer this question again in one of the different capacity. So securing digital infrastructure begins with consideration of data, applications, user, and the access, right? So a lot of government agencies are also migrating and modernizing their legacy workloads, and in order to do that, there is careful evaluation required in terms of both operability and the security pieces. When you move something, obviously when you move to the cloud with your digital infrastructure modernization effort, the cloud has different working model, shared responsibilities for security. So there are pieces that changes. So communicating that change, identifying and communicating that change is the key, and then applying the controls that are needed in order to protect that infrastructure, right? And there are other things. The data protection and encryption is the piece as well. There are different mechanisms that are offered by cloud provider that may align, may not align with the legacy applications. A lot of times, if you have a legacy workloads that are moved to the cloud, encryptions may be supported, or it might even break the application. right? So in those cases, vTech has a mechanism or methods, I would say, to protect those type of applications data by giving encryption that it needs. What I wanted to do is provide a general summary of answer, like we help
Yep.
migrate, mobilize the secure workloads. A second piece was we help apply the controls at the preventive layer, which I kind of like a talked in the earlier questions that we had.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So one last question, and then I'm going to ask you to restate your name at the end. Because we hit a lot, which was great. Thank you for this. When you said this is a question that's not here, because this is why I like the conversations, natural things come up. When you said zero trust architecture, it made me think about it's one of those phrases that organizations and various people might be throwing around the Internet of Things, and maybe they're not really using it correctly. So, and you can pick any phrase you want, ZTA, IoT, whatever you want. And so my question to you is what, phrases in the world of securing digital infrastructure do you think people are not using correctly? And so what do you think those phrases are? How should people be using it? And when thinking about protecting themselves, what should they actually be thinking about if they're thinking about it not in the right way?
Yeah, no, I think last time what I specifically observe, and I see it improving over the time as well. It's a ZTA, right? Zero Trust Architecture. A lot of time it's mistaken or confused with the zero trust tools, right? So it's not the same having a tool or one solution that is protecting or providing security for one piece of the environment. A zero trust architecture is a continuous process of maturing the capabilities in order to extend the defense in depth. And it has multiple dependencies on not only the solutions, it has devices, the processes that are used in the environment. For instance, a lot of times we think about and take for today's session in conversation example, right? There are multiple PCs that are responsible for security. If I take one example, is supply chain risk management, right? And you want to think about zero trust in the supply chain risk management as well. NIST provides a very good framework for it, but I'll just take an example. Um, a lot of times I have seen it in my experience that that's not considered like very thoroughly and carefully, right? So I think what I have, I mean, it's going definitely improving zero trust architecture. More and more people are understanding that zero trust is not just a tool or one solution. It's more of a process that needs to be adapted day to day and mature in order to secure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the environment as a whole. So that's what I would say is one example. If I were to give, it would be ZTA.
Yeah. And if the answer is no, we'll cut it. Is vTech solution equipped to provide your definition, the services around that zero trust architecture?
Yes. So vTech's approach to help our customers mature the zero trust is incorporated into each layers of the infrastructure, right? And what I mean by that is we start right from the internet all the way up to the host and the application process layer. So what we do is help customers extend the defense to very micro segmented layers that allows to create preventive policies for only trust that is established during the process of building certain systems, right? Or users, for instance. So it's a mix of it. Um, I think I'll answer this in a very detailed manner, Hunter. This is a very good question, by the way. Like what vTech's doing is because it aligns directly with vTech Evolve. I might want to structure it a little bit way that it addresses network, EDR applications, and all those things. Give me a few minutes. We might have to touch base again because I have to leave in 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, if we need to touch base again, we can.
Yeah. So I think that's what basically what we are doing, extending our defense capabilities across, to help our customers extending our defense capabilities across network, application, host layers, and any one of the processes that runs that makes up an application, creating those virtual boundaries of defense to allow only processes, people, or communications that are trusted and deny everything else, right? And we do that on continuous basis. We do that with automated capabilities of identifying and blocking those type of communications or accesses that are not trusted, and incorporating, like I said earlier, incorporating these capabilities into DevOps lifecycle. So we are doing that from very beginning when the product is starting to develop, during the testing phase, and when it's in production, right? So this is a continuous lifecycle. Continuous security operations require continuous adoption of the technologies, processes, and that's where we keep enhancing our capabilities in terms of helping our customers mature zero trust by investing in this some of the emerging tech, basically AI, and there are other industry partners that we work with. So yeah.
Great. Actually, that was a great response, what you just said. It's nice and succinct. This is not a final question, just for the last thing, because I know you have the interview. Just restate clearly, name, title, and that's it. You don't even have to say your history, just name and title.
Okay. My name is Kartik Hirpara. I'm Director of IT Services here at vTech Solution.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.